Ravenclaw is one of the Hogwarts houses that is the most underrated. We may not be as popular as Gryffindor and Slytherin, but we have pride in our house. Because we are not one of the popular houses, that means the students outside our house don't know the struggle their fellow peers have to deal with every day. Not just anyone is intelligent, creative, or original enough to join our ranks. Gryffindors, Slytherins, and Hufflepuffs all have experiences that only they can relate to, but so do we. Not everyone understands what it's like to be one of us, but those of us who can boast the colours of blue and bronze know the joys and the challenges of being some of the wittiest people out there. So here are the struggles all Ravenclaws know to be true. Before we get started though, make sure you click that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. Having to constantly remind people that our house mascot isn't a raven, but an eagle. With a name like Ravenclaw, many people think our house mascot is a raven. The name is in the word, so it would completely make sense if that was the animal that was chosen to represent us. However, that's not the case. We are eagles, and even though some people can't see the logic behind it, we do. An eagle soars higher in the sky than ravens do, and we fly above the rest of the other houses. Our intelligence will take us to new heights. We know that the sky's the limit and that we can do anything that we set our minds to. That is why the bird is the perfect symbol for our noble house. We wouldn't have it any other way. But come on people, just because raven is in the name, it doesn't mean the mascot should be a raven. After all, Gryffindor doesn't have a griffin. So why is it that Ravenclaw is the only house that has their mascot questioned? And that leads us to our next struggle. Not being able to find Ravenclaw merch anywhere. Seriously, is it really that hard to get Ravenclaw's mascot right on your merchandise? We can thank Warner Brothers for this, if only they hadn't changed the mascot in the films. Imagine actually being able to wear Ravenclaw themed merchandise that has an eagle on it. The question of Ravenclaw's house mascot has confused many, and lots of official Ravenclaw merchandise bears the house's namesake raven instead of its mascot, the eagle. Many Ravenclaws feel misrepresented and upset that their house identity has been changed, including yours truly. Our brains are incapable of shutting off. Ravenclaws know what it's like to have brains that never shut off. It constantly goes on all hours of the day. We never have a break from our thoughts, which is also why we have some of the most creative people. Artistic types usually work best during the time of day when everybody else is asleep. And that's why it's good to have us all in the one place. If you're not up thinking and pursuing your innovative endeavours, then you don't want to be disturbed by someone who is. Most of us in Ravenclaw are awake at ungodly hours, working on what we love, and that's why we're perfect for this house. Just try sleeping when you have a million thoughts running through your head. It's a blessing and a curse. Misconceptions. There are many stereotypes that are associated with each house. For Ravenclaws, one is that all we do is study. While we do pride ourselves in being intelligent, it's definitely not all we're good for. Sometimes even we get wrapped up in the hubris that comes along with being the smartest house at Hogwarts. But the reality of the situation is that we're all a little bit strange.
You're just as sane as I am.
The best minds have to be a bit eccentric to come up with ideas that are outside the box. People made fun of Luna Lovegood, but the truth is that she wouldn't have been able to make as many strides as she did in her career as a wizarding naturalist if she hadn't been so different. People think that being a Ravenclaw is just about being smart, but our brains just tend to think in different ways. We aren't always good at school or smart, we just like learning things. And no, that doesn't automatically mean that we're all good at riddles either. Scatterbrains. In the era of information overload, it's easy to point our fingers at the internet and all its glorious distractions for turning us into scatterbrains, but this is a million times worse if you're a Ravenclaw. No matter what, we find it super easy to get distracted from things we want to learn by all the other things that we want to learn about. We can't even have just one project. We have to have 10 and be working on them all at once, and it makes us completely overwhelmed. There are so many things to learn that we get overwhelmed by how many things there are to learn. Our brains are always so crowded by all of our ideas that we can never sort them out without running around and being a mess, not being understood by others. I know, it sounds obnoxious, but when you're in the most intelligent and witty house at Hogwarts, other people just don't get you, especially when you add quirkiness to the mix.
Everyone that says Luna Lovegood.
When information is tailored to the average person, it can get frustrating. Or when you watch other people learn things and you get frustrated by how long they take to do or learn something. The amount of frustration we feel to not step in can be so overwhelming. Also, the amount of times we try to explain things to others and it just goes straight over their heads really is annoying. All the times people look at you weird when you mention random bits of trivia or information you've picked up along the way. So what if we're random or eccentric? We find it interesting and think everyone else should too. No matter what people say, you're a true blue Ravenclaw and you're smart enough to know you're in the best Hogwarts house out there. If you enjoyed that video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it on social media. Do you agree with this list? Make sure you leave a comment down below. What are some of the Ravenclaw struggles that you experience?